boys.
Live from your ESG and DEI teeth bleaching kit.
Ooh.
That's not
which
woke,
is the
is
active,
it? Turning your teeth white is not woke, right?
Which is the active ingredient in the teeth bleaching? The D, the E, or the I?
I think it's an ESG sizzle.
Ah, got it.
It's a Business Pants Friday show here at February 21st Studios featuring AnalystHole Matt Moscardi. You already heard him. Come on, Matt. Come on.
Hey.
On today's weekly wrap-up, Canada still cares. Rupert Murdoch knows how to text. The illusion of meritocracy. And an important new announcement from YouTube.
Oh, not... I thought you were going to say U2. I was getting excited for a second there. Like, oh, they're back.
U2 still a thing? Yeah.
I think they're
Our show
still a
today
thing,
is being sponsored by freeflowanalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power, connections, and performance for free. And Matt, we know it's for free because the people at freeflowanalytics.com, a few weeks ago, they kind of handed us a list of some of the users, and none of those people, I don't think they're paying us. Or, I shouldn't say us. They're not paying freeflowanalytics.com.
That's right. They don't pay Freeflow Analytics. Well,
so it is free.
I mean, we can confirm that there are people who go to freeflowanalytics.com, sign up for a free account, and use it for free because Freeflow Analytics said they get $0 from them. That's
like
what
me.
They said. Yeah.
Like I use it for free.
And me. Let's. We were just talking. I feel like we're going to do story of the week. We're going to do good least of the week and asshole least of the week, and we're going to do headlines and winners and predictions. But
Jesus
like every
just
week.
sighed. He's so relieved.
But don't we have? We were just saying that there's a little bit of a problem because for 5 years we've been kind of doing this show.
Yeah, that is a problem.
That's problem
Big
number
problem.
one. Problem number two is the jokes that we made 5 years ago about things that were absurd. We make all sarcastic jokes. We like point out absurdities and we take them to the nth degree. All of the things that we did that were meant to be sort of absurd contortions
ironic,
of what we're seeing, ironic things.
Yeah,
they're kind of now all happening. They're all real
what
things.
did we do? Did we play our flute wrong? We're the evil Pied Piper of the corporate world. How did we screw this up, Matt?
Well,
what did
I'm
we do
wondering,
wrong?
do we blame ourselves for this? This is our fault,
and our 3 listeners. Yes,
or is it that the world moved in this direction? We just saw it coming. Which is
both?
better?
Could we do both on this one? Okay. Yeah. Are we officially the Beavis and Butthead of the ESG sector? Is that why MSCI doesn't return our calls? Or are we even calling in the first place? I don't even know.
I prefer to be the Matt Stone and Trey Parker of the ESG sector.
Okay, fine. You're just getting you're too above my head now. You're too intelligent, too intellectual. All right, you ready for story of the week?
Let's do it.
Now, last week I kind of focused on CEO-centric stories. This week I'm taking a bit more of a stakeholder view.
Oh.
Let's start at the confusing top. Let's start at the very confusing top, and we can spend as little or as much time on this as you want. I don't know, maybe you're covering this later, but it's kind of been a weird, nerdy ESG week, and by that I mean first, there was a headline saying that proxy vote support for ESG drops to record low in 2024. And then there was all these strange headlines. First, there was BlackRock and Vanguard halt meetings with companies after SEC cracks down on ESG. But then a follow-up, BlackRock resumes stewardship talks after reviewing new ESG guidance. Do you want to weigh in on any of this?
Yeah, well, here's my...
Go ahead.
I'm not sure which one I was rooting for with BlackRock.
Yeah. Do we need them there? And what are they saying? What is the conversation when BlackRock comes back into the meeting room? Like, well, we're supporting everything anyway, right? So we're just
that's the problem. So
chit-chat.
But that was...
How's your daughter?
They supported everything before they halted the meetings, and then after. So here's...
How's your new Audi? I think that's the conversation.
That is such a 90s like luxury car. Like you have
right?
to, yeah. Come on, update your luxury car.
What is an updated luxury car?
I mean,
a helicopter, a private jet.
It's a Oculus Pro that you wear in the metaverse. That's your luxury car these days. So just by way of background on the BlackRock Vanguard story. We've talked already on the show about SEC guidance around certain filings that would have made BlackRock look like an activist if they quote unquote pressured any company for anything, right? Noting, of course, that BlackRock is there as a representative of you, their client, and you are the owner of that company. You've basically hired BlackRock to go to that company and tell them to do stuff to protect the value of your asset.
Right. Kind of sniff around and ask why the CEO pay ratio is 1,200 to 1, that kind of thing.
And their job is to say things like, look, if your CEO pay ratio doesn't go from 1,200 to 1 to 1,199 to 1, we're going to vote against pay, right? Like that's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
The SEC said, if you say that, you now will be considered an activist investor.
You're an activist.
You're pressuring the companies. You're a big meanie and a big jerk, and we're going to make you file lots of papers.
You're Nelson Peltz. Yeah.
So BlackRock and Vanguard basically stopped all their meetings to say, like, okay, well, can we even do engagement anymore? And within 24 to 48 hours, they resumed the meetings. And here's what BlackRock said.
Mm-hmm.
They now, at the beginning of every meeting, say, we are a passive investor. And that's all they had to do. Now we can have this conversation.
Okay. Well, let me back up this conversation with this, because I made reference to this proxy vote support for ESG drops to record low in 2024. We actually covered this on one of our other shows. So this is a bit of a clarification because I think we got some of the data wrong. So this is from ShareAction. This is their new report. First of all, and looking at their methodology, Matt, they don't actually cover ESG shareholder resolutions. It's only ES. I didn't see a single governance resolution, so of course the headline gets it wrong. And they only looked at 279 resolutions. I thought it was more thorough than that. And this 1% figure that was trotted out in some other business news articles was misleading in the sense that there isn't 1% support for the resolutions. Only 1% out of the 279 resolutions received a majority support. Okay.
Oh.
So anyway, let me get beyond that misunderstanding, but let me get to the most important part. They looked at 70 of the world's largest asset managers' voting patterns, and here's why I bring it up: is that at number 67 with a score of 5 on a scale of 0 to 100. BlackRock is at number 67, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that they basically support management every single step of the way.
Yeah.
And at dead last place at number 70, with the only 0 in the whole group, they voted in favor of 0% of shareholder proposals, is Vanguard, Matt.
Oh, there we go.
So I wonder, who cares if they're pausing their meetings? Who actually cares?
Well, this is where we get into the argument of this is so much kabuki theater, should they be voting at all, right? Like, and frankly, that ShareAction number that you just clarified, because we did this on Proxy Countdown, which dropped yesterday, the 1.4%. So just for context sake, directors, 0.02% of directors, I'm sorry, 0.2% of directors, 0.2.
Okay, 0.2.
Get a majority vote against them.
Okay.
0.2. Which means there's 7 times the support for shareholder resolutions as there is an effort to even get a director out. That's actually
that's just
pretty
because
impressive.
Gus probably missed a meeting or two. That's why.
Yeah. He was in the hallway sneezing for too long. And he missed the big parts. But should these? I pose this: should they be voting at all? And then I'm of the second mind of, well, now that they've been freed up to, like, they don't, these conversations, they can't pressure anybody, right? So all it is they go in and they have to say, we're a passive investor. And then they ask some questions, but they say nothing that they want. They can't go out there and say, here's what we want. Here's what we're worried about. You can't say that.
Want nothing. Yeah.
So all they do is say, like, so what are you guys doing on climate change? And when they say, like, oh, we've got all these programs in place, you just write it down. And then you say, what are you doing about diversity? Oh, we just cut all our programs because we're worried about legal liability. You just write that down, and then you go home, BlackRock, and you vote against every director on the board. And you can't possibly say they pressured because they didn't hold. There was no quid pro quo. There was no, we want you to do this thing. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that free them? Does it free them, or should we revoke the vote entirely?
Well, I don't know, but here's why that 1% figure is important. Is that as it was only in 2021 where that number was 21%. So the real question, Matt, is can we pass a law that ensures that BlackRock and Vanguard remain principled and don't just bend to any political pressure in the short term, right? I mean, how do we go from 21% to 1% in three short years? How is that even possible?
First of all,
what's changed? What's changed?
Keep them principled? What it really?
Well, 21% is a respectable figure. That means 21% of shareholder resolutions passed in 2021. That seems respectable to me. Okay, I'm sorry, but what the hell has changed?
Give me a denominator in 2021. How many proposals were there in 2021?
I'd have to go back into the wonderful report. Yeah, I don't know. No, I'm imagining again. They're looking at 300 proposals in 2024. I don't know that number for 2021. Hey, and I want to add one other thing. There are asset managers who are actually doing their jobs. I don't want to leave them out. In fact,
correct.
Of the list of 70 asset managers covered in this study, the first American company doesn't show up until number 28. That's Federated Hermes. Hermes.
Hermes. Yeah.
Yeah. They have a score of 80 out of a scale of 0 to 100. So that's pretty good. The top 26 are all in Europe, led by Gen AM in Italy with a 98, BNP Paribas in France with a 97, and PGGM Investments in the Netherlands at 97. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out.
Shout out to BNP Paribas because I posted on LinkedIn about this about should passive investors have the right to vote, and the head someone at BNP basically replied, yeah, they absolutely should. And when I looked at their data, they do. I just looked at they absolutely do. More than 40% of the time they vote against directors. And so clearly someone is. But when you do the math, and this is what we spent our time doing, there are over 2,000 companies between both BlackRock and Vanguard, 2,000 companies where they would both be 13G filers, meaning they have more than 5% stakes. There are companies where BlackRock and Vanguard collectively own 30% of the outstanding shares of the companies. It almost doesn't matter what you do. You should just consider them insiders at that point, right? Like if you're voting only for management and you have 30% of the shares, what are you? Like, what are you doing?
We're mostly looking at the investment firms like BlackRock and Vanguard and Fidelity, I think, State Street, those types.
Fidelity and State Street, they own a lot, but they're rarely over the 5% threshold. Like they own almost as many. They show up in the top 10 of shareholders almost as many times as Vanguard and BlackRock do, but the percentage of those companies where they own 5% or more is less than a tenth of BlackRock and Vanguard.
All right, I'm going to move on because if at this pace, the show is going to be 17 hours long. The second story of the week, we always talk about a stupid CEO of Tesla. What's his name? Elon Musk. So again, I'm taking a stakeholder point of view this time. I tagged a lot of articles with this subject this week. Tesla targeted with worldwide protests and vandalism. Here's some of the other headlines. Tesla showrooms are being hit by a wave of anti-Doge protests. Sheryl Crow says goodbye to her Tesla, saying you have to decide who you are willing to align with. That's right, Sheryl. That's kind of what we do here. You would be a good maybe investor in our company because we're trying to help investors decide who they want to align with, right? Here's a sign that's another headline. Sign that says "We hate him too" appears in window of Tesla dealership. So there was a photo of the employees at Tesla also saying that they hate their boss. And finally, this headline: an economist. He is the former chief economist at the Department of Labor, Jesse Rothstein. He says economist warns that Elon Musk is about to cause a deep, deep recession. Quote, "This is going to be very, very bad," end quote. So there you go. Those are some of the stakeholder point of views on what's going on.
Move on. I hate all
Okay,
these things.
okay. Here's this next story I wanted to wedge in, story of the week, because mostly because back to Tesla here. I wonder if this does not make the case why James Murdoch should not be on the Tesla board. Okay, ready for this story? Here's the headline: James Murdoch lays bare his relationship with misogynist father amid succession fight in rare interview. So he gave a huge interview published by The Atlantic about this battle they had in the Nevada courts about which kid was going to inherit Rupert's fortune. And the interview talks about a series of withering questions put to James by Rupert's lawyer in a nearly 5-hour session at a Manhattan law office. And here's some of the questions, according to the interviewant to Atlantic magazine. One is, have you ever done anything successful on your own?
Oh, wow.
Right? Another is, does it strike you that in your account, everything that goes wrong is always somebody else's fault? But how about this one? The lawyer also referred to James and his sisters as, quote, white, privileged, multi-billionaire trust fund babies, end quote.
Wait a minute.
And then the hook of the story, Matt, is that James realized it was Rupert who was sitting silently texting the questions to the lawyer. And James said in this article, how fucking twisted is that? So, Matt, is Rupert not making the case that really James has no expertise to even be on the Tesla board?
Wait a minute.
Just a trust fund baby.
When I go through the data in our database of the number of Nepo babies in the database.
Yeah, get rid of all of them.
What do we have any of them for?
That's what Rupert's saying. This is what Rupert's saying. Right? Except for Lachlan. He likes Lachlan.
Honestly, actually, so I've inherited like zero things. I grew up upper middle class. I'm a white heterosexual male. I'm basically as privileged as you get. And you could ask me all the same questions. I'm not sure how I would answer.
How about this one? How about this one that I left out? Why were you too busy to say happy birthday to your father when he turned 90?
Oh.
Can you imagine that these are the questions being asked in a 5-hour session at a Manhattan law office? It's bizarre.
How petty is it that you're texting, you didn't even say happy birthday to me?
It's weird. It's weird.
It's really weird.
He really wants his fortune to go to Lachlan, right? Because Lachlan's the only one who believes in Fox News.
Lachlan texted, women suck, happy birthday, dad, on his 90th. That's why.
That's my third story of the week. And for any of you Succession fans out there, I'm sure there's a lot of you, it is eerie how much that sounds like an episode from Succession. I mean, and this is after the series aired, so they really got that right.
Nailed it.
And finally, the fourth story of the week, let's go back to United Health. United Health, yeah, here's the headline this morning. United Health's rough stretch continues with buyouts. They're offering employee buyouts. They're also hinting at potential layoffs. They also just reported there's a Department of Justice has launched a civil fraud investigation into United Health's billing practices. Bill Ackman is getting involved. You never want Bill Ackman involved.
Oh, yeah.
The share price is tanking. And again, this is all, the background of all of this, of course, is that one of their named executive officers, Brian, I already forgot his name. Brian Thompson was murdered in Manhattan in November. So a lot going bad for United Health. Yeah.
Do we think this would have happened if not for the murder?
No, I actually don't. That's the weird thing. I mean, I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I just feel like it opened the door to dump on not only this company, but the whole industry, right? And I'm guessing it's polling pretty well for both sides of the political aisle that this is a great target.
I read on OAN, the One America Network, the hard right conservative online whatever it is. They had some story that was hey Dems, stop lionizing Luigi Mangione, the killer. So I think they're moving steadily to United Health Group's side. So that's good.
Yeah, I don't know that it's just Democrats doing that, but that remains to be seen. Yeah, I think it's just I just think it's angry people who are already angry.
So my 4 options for story of the week are some vague ESG stewardshipy voting thing.
It would have been a little bit more fun if BlackRock hadn't already changed its mind. But yeah, go ahead.
Tesla being the target of hate
everywhere.
James Murdoch's story about his relationship with his father, which is fabulous, and United Health's rough stretch. Those are my stories, really. Those are the stories of the week.
Help me out. You're always welcome to add a story I missed, but there's what am I going to do? Put another horrible company that is getting rid of its DEI policy? Like what else should I be adding to this list? Another CEO got a huge raise for absolutely no reason. Like, is that a story of the week?
There you go. I have to go because it's so wonky and dear to us. I have to go with the ESG.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, the other ones feel like forever stories in a weird way.
All right, let's spend no more time on that.
Let's be happy. Let's do goodliest.
Yeah.
Happy's a loose term.
I got a bunch. Yeah, maybe
I got
you should go
three
first.
actually. I got three, but they're all short.
Yeah,
right.
I have. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the first one. Just the headline. NASA has some good news about the asteroid that could hit Earth.
What's the good news?
So we reported last week
3.2% chance.
3.2% chance. Well, they redid the calculations. They looked at the trajectory. They watched it for another week, and they realized it's a 1.4% chance.
Oh, but still above the percentage of shareholder proposals that Vanguard is saying yes to. Let's just be clear. Can we just be clear?
But now it's equal to the number of resolutions that got a majority vote in 2024. That's that's better.
Yeah. What else do you have?
You want me to do all of them? I'll do all of them.
It's up to you.
Sneak one in here.
Okay. Coca-Cola says this. DEI is good for our business. How about that?
Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, stop it. In an annual filing, the company said its business could be adversely affected if it was unable to attract or retain specialized talent or top talent with diverse perspectives, experiences, and backgrounds. So somebody else is caring. What is it? Like it's Coke, it's Apple, and it's Costco? Is that basically it?
Yeah, but what's the saying? Twice bitten, once. What's it saying?
I'm just trying to feel good about something.
Because here's the thing. Yeah. Jamie Dimon said,
"That's true. Bring it on
about anti-DEI people."
Yeah,
and like all these companies they know. The companies that were serious about it, there's clearly two cohorts forming here. The companies that were serious about it in the first place, recognizing benefits from it, realizing they're expanding their talent pool, they're getting smarter about hiring, they're getting better talent, they're making better decisions, there's more innovation. All the things we associate with the academic studies around diverse cohorts create better outcomes. We know that to be true from years of academia. In our own research, free float data, the data we get from free float analytics that they've given us, we found that black women and men have higher merit on boards than any other cohort based on their knowledge, their leadership. And I'll come back to that anyway. But the fact is, there are companies that know that this works. And the first thing they do is say, this is good. This is good for our business. Bring it on. Bring on the fight. No, we absolutely need DEI. And then there's the companies that, and then they all end up having to retreat because they're terrified they're going to get sued. Then there's the companies who never did it seriously in the first place and retreat also.
Yeah. Well, I postulated that Coca-Cola did this mostly because they're headquartered in what's considered the capital of Black America, right? Certainly the cultural capital where the most Black wealth is in Atlanta, Georgia. Do you think that has something to do with it?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
All right. I got one for you, right?
Yeah.
This one is actually great for future lawsuits against return to office mandates.
I don't know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
You know, everyone's like, get back in the office. They're still talking about get back in the office. It's been, 5 years since COVID.
Sure.
And they're still like thinking it matters to be back in the office. Somehow you survived. You had record profits in the last 5 years, but everybody's got to get back to the office because that's where, we need everybody. Well, those office mandates, I think you can sue based on this. Here's the headline. Afternoon naps boost your problem solving, study finds.
Ooh, I might need this. I've noticed that after we record our shows, I do dip quite drastically. Maybe I just need an afternoon nap.
When they said afternoon naps, the study, I thought like, oh, like that's great.
20 minute.
You take a 20-minute cat nap.
That's my power nap. I set my alarm for 20 minutes.
The study was 110-minute naps.
What? No. I can't do that.
Almost 2-hour nap.
That's terrible. First of all, who
fabulous.
could actually fall asleep for 2 hours in the middle of the day? But second of all, don't you always wake up like kind of a drooling hot mess, like you're like in a fever dream? I don't need any of that.
No, give me my nap time. Even if I don't nap, I want my nap time.
Okay, here's an entity even bigger than Coca-Cola. Actually, it's arguable. Maybe Coca-Cola is actually more powerful and bigger than this next entity that's supporting diversity. But here's the headline. Canadian banks must reveal diversity of board top managers under new rules.
Ooh. Why just banks?
I don't actually know the question. That maybe this is part of the sector that regulates just banking organizations in Canada.
But
Here's the quote: "Diversity is fundamental to creating a thriving, successful financial sector that reflects Canadian values." There you go. So what we're seeing, Matt, in the Trump era, Trump 2.0, is that if you listen very carefully to our friends from the South or the North, you'll understand how actual adults get things done.
So here's a problem.
Talk about
that
Mexico
I have.
and Canada for all you dummies out there.
Here's a problem that I have.
Yeah, you have a lot of problems.
Well, I'm full of problems. I'm just a giant problem. The way they phrase this is basically like it's inclusion language, and I agree with that. But
Yeah.
if you said diversity is fundamental to innovation, I feel like you'd have
Well, it could be implied. Maybe it's.
Don't
right?
imply it. Stop implying. Say it. Say
Yeah.
basically when we look at diverse cohorts, they tend to be more qualified for the jobs that we give to non-diverse cohorts. When we look at innovative outcomes, they're more innovative outcomes with greater diversity. Say those things.
Yeah. Well,
Stop saying it's like.
It's sad that we have to say those things, Matt, because again, if I had a complicated problem to solve, my first instinct would be to collect 10 different people representing 10 different ways of solving that same problem, and I'm pretty sure we'll get to a conclusion, right? Like we'll figure out the answer together. Not just a group think of weirdos.
I just don't want to hear reflects Canadian values, because while it reflects my values, that's where they get their lawsuits from now. That maybe
say not
what
in Canada.
The value is.
Yeah. I should add that they also are regulating financial institutions, that they must also disclose policies to increase diversity when they announce their annual meetings. So that's a step even beyond. All right.
All right,
What else you got?
I'll give you my last one. All right,
Yeah.
you ready for this?
A lot of goodliest. Yeah.
It's just the headline, because it's the only thing that really matters. What's in that drink? Starbucks becomes less Instagrammable.
I saw this headline too, and it made me feel good for some weird reason. Like anything less Instagrammable sounds like a win.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes. It's the win is. What are we doing if we're making drinks for Instagram anyway? Just drink the drink because it's good. This is great. Don't be Instagrammable.
Before we vote on those four goodliest stories of the week, I want to already announce a couple of reversals. These are stories that we've covered in this category recently. First of all, Amazon workers have rejected the union in a vote at a North Carolina warehouse. They really destroyed. It was like a huge loss. I don't get it. I really just don't get it. The other reversal, which makes me angry and very sad, is one that I really love. Trump, Matt, has already rescinded a Department of Transportation approval for a New York City congestion toll, which is what the headline says, condemns the city to pollution. He's stepping into New York City and saying that they can't do that. Of course, the governor of New York is already like, we're going to sue back. But this is just ridiculous.
Can somebody explain to me?
What is he doing?
How? Do you have to ask Daddy if you could set up a toll in your state? Can't you just?
Are we for big government or small government? Which is it, you idiots? Like Doge is firing everyone, right? They're
because big government, right?
They're cutting funding for scientists, everything horrible, right? They're even cutting like firefighters. But we're also stepping in and saying that we need more cars in Manhattan. It doesn't make any sense to me. Really.
All right. Well,
just a troll. Just a troll.
The obvious goodliest here is what's in that drink. Starbucks becomes
fine. Let's just vote on that one.
Yeah,
I actually agree.
I mean, I want to say Canada, but
no, I think really, if we can just work together as a culture to make everything so less Instagrammable that eventually Instagram is gone, then I think we've won something.
I agree. Let's move on to assholes.
All right, go ahead. Come on.
All right, I got shorter assholes this week.
Thank God.
All right, number
Can I put
one.
that in goodliest? Yeah, go ahead.
Meritocracy, the new buzzword. Meritocracy.
I hate it. I hate this buzzword.
Here's what I saw. The headline said, Exxon swaps diversity for meritocracy in report to investors. That's right. That's what it did. They actually just removed the word diversity and replaced it with meritocracy.
Grossest gaslighting ever. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, according to our data, or free float data, I should say, one of Exxon's 12 directors, one meets what free float flagged as merit measures.
And I was going to say, and Free Float had to come up with these measures because I'm almost guaranteeing, Matt, I didn't look at precisely what Exxon said. I'm almost guaranteeing that they did not actually release a methodology to define meritocracy.
There it is.
Well, why do that when you can just shit on people of color and women? Right? Why actually release a criteria? Why do it?
So that's the win. Everybody gets to say meritocracy instead of diversity, but no one has to define meritocracy at all. So Free Float did it. They created 5 flags for knowledge in the industry, network power, economic interest, performance, and whether or not you've basically been a leader in the past, CEO position, or multiple board positions. Really simple, sort of high-level measures of should you be on a board? Well, using those incredibly simple measures of meritocracy,
that's pretty simple for most people to understand.
Only one director
seriously
at Exxon had at least 3 of them.
What?
Only one. You want to know who the one director on Exxon's board met merit was? Kaisa Haitala.
Of course, it's a woman.
Do you recognize that name?
No.
She was the dissent director put there by engine number 1 in an activist vote. She's not even the director put there by Exxon themselves.
Well, yeah, Matt, can I just say that this once again supports my theory that the modern use of corporate boards is just to insulate CEOs. It's just to protect them. The CEO is king. The board is just there to block. That's all they're doing. That's it.
One problem with that theory is that you said modern when it's really just always.
Well, okay. I'm sorry, that's true, yeah. Well, I say modern because, 20 to 25 years ago when the corporate governance movement was gaining some legs, I thought maybe there was a possibility that we were going to segue out of this. Like we were actually going to find independent oversight,
Well, so for the purposes of this study, I wanted to know where is the merit? Why is there so much merit missing? We know that adding diverse candidates to boards should improve merit. Well, the merit's missing because 7 of the 12 directors are white men.
Right.
60% of the directors on the Exxon, 58% of the Exxon board members are just white men.
That seems
the
low.
majority.
Yeah.
That's the majority. They're the majority. And
No,
I didn't include the white women. That's just the white men. That's not the white people. That's the white men. In fact, there are 2 people of color, and they're twofers. A woman born in Egypt who lives in Texas her whole life and was part of the Trump administration and the first administration.
Right.
And then a black guy who's on 3 other boards.
Right. So he's just kind of a placeholder, it seems.
So, I mean, our data shows that black women have more merit on paper than any other cohort. I mentioned that already.
Right.
So here's a new plan, Exxon. In fact, not just for you, for every company. You should all announce meritocracy targets now. I want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had diversity targets back, like in 2020 that you're all rolling back.
Prove it.
I want you to set out meritocracy targets.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Increase in the number of employees, executives, and directors that will meet meritocracy requirements by 2050. The result should be, after you announce that 100% of every company employee is a black woman. That's what the result should be.
Okay,
you're welcome.
Yeah, stop the horse shit. Stop just trotting out this racist, misogynistic word. Just tell us, show us your methodology.
Prove it, asshole.
Really. Should be easy. All right, what else?
Number 2.
Yeah.
This is your job. This is your job, you asshole. Here's the headline.
Yeah.
Boeing CEO praises Elon Musk for helping with delayed Air Force One delivery. He's a brilliant guy.
Yeah, I saw that. That's obviously just blatant kissing up. But yeah, go ahead.
It is your literal job to build that thing for your client. I mean, imagine if Free Float came out with a bunch of sucky director data, and we said,
which we don't.
This sucks, and then Free Float says, oh, well, don't worry, we hired ISS to build it for us because they're better at it.
Yeah,
it's your job, Boeing CEO. You're the one who has to get Air Force One. Don't ask Elon Musk for help. And investors, this is the fool you elected to the board. This is the fool. This is your money. It's your job as the owner of the company to keep the board management team honest. If the board management team basically needs help to do their job, should they be the board management team? Should they even be there? I mean, Ohio is suing. The attorney general is suing Boeing's board for failure to do their job. Meanwhile, they voted for all of them. None of them should exist. If you can't do this job, you shouldn't be begging Elon Musk for help. You should be fired. That's what you should be.
Yeah, the man you're talking about is Kelly Ortberg.
Yes, Kelly Ortberg.
Okay.
He does have a name. So fire him.
Okay.
And
who else? What else?
Number 3.
I like how short these are. Yeah.
This is what it was always about.
Huh?
This is I'm gonna make this as crass as possible. This is the worst version of Fuck, Marry, Kill. You ever play that game, Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Not really, but I know of the game in pop culture.
I mean, the game is like there's 3 people and you say, which would you fuck? Which would you marry? Which would you kill?
Sure.
But this is the worst version of the game because this is about Elon Musk. And he will fuck anyone with a vagina because he's a big middle school boy. He'll marry his money and he'll kill anybody, everybody. He doesn't care about it. It's the worst version of that game. And this is what the tech bros are about. This is what the administration's about. Here are the headlines. An influencer says she had Elon Musk's baby and the drama is pretty spectacular, even by his standards.
Yeah.
A 13th baby was born and announced 3 days ago, by a conservative influencer who was flirting with Musk because he inserted himself into her DMs, apparently.
Right. Yeah.
This is all about getting laid. Like, you bought Twitter, the same reason Zuckerberg made Facebook. It's to get laid.
Well, it's
because
not even
you're
get laid.
middle
It's
school boys.
He obviously wants to have children, too. I mean...
And then there's this headline. Elon Musk has a problem with X community notes when he disapproves of the results.
Yeah, I saw this. Yeah, this was about the war in Ukraine. Yeah.
So he's
now going to change the community notes because people were flagging him.
His own community flagged him, and now he's going to basically make exceptions for himself. Because he doesn't want to be...
Free speech.
That's what free speech is.
Yeah.
And finally, Elon Musk is flagrantly gutting an agency in charge of regulating Tesla.
Well, Matt, and
we knew that.
You could. There were like 20 other. Thank you for giving us a bit of a break. There are 20 other headlines that I also tagged that you could have used to support this category.
Oh, no doubt. And I just like the second headline that goes with he's gutting an agency in charge of regulating Tesla. The headline, literally like 3 headlines down in your polls, was Tesla recalls more than 375,000 vehicles due to power steering issue.
That seems like a problem. First of all. That almost seems like all the vehicles I've sold. And second of all, anything to do with steering, I don't like that. That sounds really bad.
That's correct.
This is the genius that's helping Boeing.
But this is the genius. This is the brilliant guy helping Boeing.
Yeah, the brilliant guy, yeah.
It's all kabuki theater. It's only ever about how can I get laid? How can I make more? And I don't care what the consequences are. Well, that's it.
One thing we've learned from the Musk-Trump era, the 2.0 Musk-Trump presidency, is that it is all about controlling the narrative. Because that's the only reason why these spineless boards would be giving up on their DEI programs, because they just feel like they've lost to the narrative, right? They can't see their way out of it. They're just afraid.
So those are your options.
All right, okay. What are my options?
It's a meritocracy, the new buzzword at Exxon.
Easy for me. Yeah.
It's your job, asshole, at Boeing, and it was always about getting laid, marrying, and killing people.
Matt, this is easy. This is probably going to be my asshole of the year. It's absolutely meritocracy.
I love it. Yeah, that's right.
It is the biggest hateful, gaslighting, misogynist, racist bullshit I've heard in a long time. It's really, it's awful. And I applaud us, honestly. I don't often applaud us because we're basically morons. We're basically Beavis and Butthead of the ESG world. But I applaud us, Matt, for maybe being the only people I am seeing on the internet or anywhere that is asking these people to prove it. Prove what the meritocracy effing means. Give us your methodology. Because it absolutely implies that you have a spreadsheet of the tangible qualities that define merit.
Yeah, you don't. That's what we.
If you do, let's just see the spreadsheet.
Publish it. All right, we got headlines, winners, and predictions.
Exhausting.
Yeah, we're flying though.
Good.
Flying.
What are we up to?
Headlines.
I like yours better, so I'm going to go with mine first. Zuckerberg's new. I like when they say Zuckerberg because that is what Meta Platforms is. That's an actual assessment of what Meta Platforms really is. Zuckerberg's new metaverse ad is so bad that the people who created it must be secretly trying to embarrass him. I just like the way that sounds. I just like all of that.
Did you watch the ad?
I did. It's terrible. It's weird. I don't understand it. I don't know why anyone would invest in Meta Platforms after seeing that ad. But
okay, whatever. They've spent billions. I mean, literally billions of dollars on the metaverse. Probably going to be in
trillions soon. Yeah.
When I watched that ad, like I went and watched footage of the original World of Warcraft game that was released in 2004. That's 21 years ago, in case you're counting. And the ad is worse in terms of like the graphics, the people, the interactions. It's so much worse than World of Warcraft was in 2004.
It did. It seemed like an Adult Swim cartoon from like 1996. If anyone remembers Adult Swim, the network, it seemed like that. It seemed like a dumb animated. I don't know what it was. Yeah,
go watch it. Go Google it. Somebody. All right. I'm going to blow your mind with this one.
Yeah.
Although I know you know what it is.
You can re-blow my mind.
Here's the headline. YouTube picked a new shade of red for its logo because the old red was too red.
That sounds about right. Yeah. That sounds about it.
The old color was hex code FF1B1B. It was pure red, and they said it was super loud. My guess is they meant diverse.
Yeah.
It was
they didn't say that, though, right? They didn't say diverse.
They didn't say that, but my guess is, and they wanted to make it a little less woke, a little less diverse.
Too shrill.
So now they've got a new hex code, EB2F3B.
Thank God. Yeah.
I mean, finally, right?
Yeah.
Finally. All right, who won your week?
Well, mine's an easy one. Because if you've spent any time in Manhattan, if you've ever worked there, lived there, visited there, and you know what it's like with all the cars, the absolute winner of this week is New York City pollution because Trump is rescinding what the people of New York City want, what they voted for, actually, what they need, and he's getting rid of the congestion toll and he's letting all the cars flood back in for no reason.
No, the real winner here is investor relations teams.
Oh.
Because BlackRock and Vanguard halted the meetings, then resumed the meetings, but they can't do or say anything, and they won't vote against anyone. If the biggest winner isn't an investor relations team who's now setting up a meeting with BlackRock, knowing full well that they can't say anything. Like if I were the investor relations team,
I want that.
Like
job.
I would show up and be like, "So BlackRock, what do you want us to do?"
Yeah.
And let them be like, we can't tell you. And be
They're
like,
note takers. Yeah.
Like if BlackRock says, what are your climate goals? Do you have any? Be like, what do you think they should be? Yeah. And don't answer the question because BlackRock cannot give you any information. Otherwise, you can call the SEC and say, they're being an activist. They told us what our climate goals should be. Yeah. And you win. It's fabulous.
If you're in the investor relation teams at BlackRock or Vanguard, reach out to us. I want to understand what your annual bonus structure is. Is it like the fewer things you accomplish, like you got to keep quiet the most,
you have,
right?
Yeah.
Like, is that how it works? Like that you shut up more, you didn't do anything, you were unprincipled, that kind of a thing.
Well, the unprincipled, I don't know.
Hey,
but
allow me to be a jerk. I just feel like being a jerk.
They avoided conflict.
Avoided
going in. Yeah.
Okay. Predictions.
Oh, what's your prediction?
I'll go first. Yours looks like a novel. Mine is very simple. Robbie Starbuck. He is now known officially. I was looking at a proxy statement from Deere and Company, and one of the proposals referred to him as a citizen journalist, which means he's not a qualified journalist. Isn't that what that means?
A citizen journalist is that just a person who
it's
wrote
an internet
something
user.
they thought?
It's an internet user, right?
They should have written guy on internet.
Yeah, a jerk, just jerk. But his name is Robbie Starbuck. He is probably a name you've heard before. He is the vocal, unaccomplished figure who is basically yelling at corporations to get rid of their DEO practices. No idea why, other than that he's a racist tool. But here's my prediction. Robbie Starbuck sues Coca-Cola because the color of Coke itself is too DEI.
Oh, no.
Right?
Matt,
why does it have to be brown? What are we doing?
It is discriminating against clear liquids.
Absolutely. It's horrible. What do you got?
That's true. All right. I'm going to play myself out while I do mine.
I'm not going to
mine
listen.
is
Go
so
ahead.
long. Okay, you ready? Apple, prior to their upcoming meeting next week, sues Inspire Investing and Wayne Franson, who put a shareholder proposal in against Apple. They copy-pasted the shareholder proposal that was submitted from Boyer Research at Deere. And the company, the lawsuit is on the grounds that Wayne Franson, who, this is in their filing, Wayne Franson doesn't exist. I searched for him all over. I looked for him in voter records, political donation records, real estate records.
Really?
The only time his name pops up is at the Apple proposal on Google. I'm not joking.
Interesting.
And they sue on the grounds that number one, that Wayne Franson's not a real person. And number two, they sue on the grounds that a religious investor cannot sue for financial materiality because Jesus said, children, how hard is it to enter a kingdom of God? It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God, which means can't be rich. You can't.
Yeah.
And he also said, that's from Mark 10:24. He also said, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in abundance of possessions. Luke 12:13.
The Bible mic drop, yeah.
Churches are anti-shareholder value.
I love it.
Get out. No proposals. Sue them. That's it.
I like that one.
That's Hazelnut Rallis. I'm your AnalystHole Matt Moscardi. We are free float. That was absurd. If you like this, come back next week. We got more shows. I'm actually lining up some interviews, a couple of interviews.
Wait, who we got?
We're going to line up some time with Patricia. She's the head of Hypatia Capital. They do a women's leadership ETF that is just fabulous. I'm lining up some time with Anders, who's a denominator. They do diversity data. We're going to bring in the people. Bring in the people. So look out for that in the coming weeks. Otherwise, goodbye.